So, as a bit of a segue, I'm joined here today by Louis, who's a good friend of Apprentice Nation and the CEO of an exceptional business, which we'll talk a little bit about, but mostly we're here to talk about goals, right? And you're a big goal setter, so what do they mean to you?
Listen, goals are so important, Mark. Like, honestly, I say this to people all the time. It's not necessarily that we have to focus on whether we've achieved them or not. The most important thing when you're thinking about setting a goal is the direction that it gives you. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you know, I always say to people, remember did you ever watch Alice in Wonderland when you were young? Yeah. Do you remember that moment where she goes and sees the Cheshire Cat and she says, you know, which way shall I go? And he says, well, where are you trying to get to? She says, I don't know. He says, well, then it doesn't matter. Because if you don't know where you're trying to get to, we have no idea which direction you're supposed to be going in. So the importance of a goal starts there. It gives you direction to say, actually, this is where I'm going to be going towards. And then from there, you can start to decide on the type of journey you're going to take, what transportation you're going to take, how much momentum, how long it's going to take you. But until we know where you're going, nothing else matters. For
sure. Incredible advice. In terms of moving it forwards then, what about a specific goal that you've set? How did you do it? What were the successes along the way?
For sure, man. I mean, I probably would say that I'd link something that took place last year, which I then brought into this year. So, you know, what's been interesting is since I've been in business, you know, full time for going on 5 years now, I remember for me, it was like, I felt that, and I think this is something that a lot of people struggle with when they go into business, is that thing of you set goals, and especially in the first 2 or 3 years, you're just not reaching them. So what was so weird was last year, I actually achieved the revenue goals that I wanted in my business. And I'll be honest with you, I was surprised. I was like, what's going on? I can actually set a goal and reach it now, yeah? Is that what we're doing? And I'm thinking, like, this is year 4, do you get what I'm saying? But then I took that into this year because, for example, when the lockdown hit, I remember saying to myself, do you know what? You call yourself an entrepreneur. People call you an entrepreneur. And as we know, entrepreneurship is not just about business. It's about those who are willing to take risks, those who are trying to actually make change. And so I said to myself, I want to make an extra £50,000 in business this year beyond what I would have normally made, even though the world is supposedly shutting down, slowing down, all of that kind of stuff. I said, no, regardless, I'm going to see if I can do that. And it was literally last week, I was sitting there reflecting on what I'd done. And I said, wow, I've reached it. And we haven't even finished the year yet. Do you get what I'm saying? So to me, I think that was amazing because I set a specific figure. So that's the thing with SMART goals, right? You know, as we know, like we want to start with it being specific. So I said it needs to be 50,000. Do you get what I'm saying? And I know that's measurable because I have tracking systems in place that I use within business to go, what have I done on a monthly basis? I also know it's achievable because that's not the entirety of what I would have made in that year. But I know it's possible to be able to do that. And of course it was realistic because I looked at it and said, with my skill set, with the skill set of my team, stuff like that, we can do it. And it was time bound because I said, you've got until Christmas. Do you get what I'm saying? So I actually did have a mini deadline that came in place before that where I said October because I said, if for any reason there's an opportunity for me to speak in public in October, I want to be able to tell people, to inspire them that this can be done. So, and here we are. So yeah, for me, that's how the SMART goal ended up actually being able to become a tangible result.
It's an incredible story, man, and congratulations on all the success.
Thank you very much.
You're holding this little bad boy down here.
Yeah, the reason I brought my journal over just because I always say to people, like, you know, people forget, paper remembers. Now, of course, we can go paperless, and that's important. Do you get what I'm saying?
Because I do. I know.
We discussed this earlier. But either way, it's about you need to have a place that you're tracking what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? Because they say you can only manage what you measure. So for me, I wrote that goal in my journal. So every single day, I'm looking at that goal. So every single day I've got the reminder, are you working towards that? I can look at the end of the week. What things have you done this week to work towards that? Have you achieved any milestones on the journey? Have you hit 5K, 10K, whatever it is? And so, yeah, I just always encourage people, whether it be paper, ideally recycled, or whether it be digital, have a way of being able to track not only what you're doing, but how you feel when you're doing it as well. Because what I'm grateful about with my journal is that, yes, it gets me to think about what I'm working towards and what I'm going to do professionally or practically to achieve that. But also, how do I feel when I'm doing it? It helps me to track my mood. It helps me to do gratitude, all of that kind of stuff. So I just think this is a built-in system, do you know what I mean, for being able to achieve goals. And this is not your only system, but it's one.
Thank you, Louis.
Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it.
So I love a good quote, and I've got 3 here to really wrap up this session, and from a couple of people you may know or may not. I'm going to start with the absolute legend that is Michael Jordan, a man that knows failure better than anybody else. I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I have failed over and over again, and that is why I succeed. In his own words, I can accept failure. The only thing I cannot accept is the failure to try over and over again. My next quote is from one of the greatest innovators and inventors of all time. He gave us electricity, we're pretty grateful. Thomas Edison. I have not failed in life. I have simply found thousands of ways that do not work. No matter what you're trying to do in life, you will hit barriers and obstacles and you have to break through them. But when you have your big picture goals and you know where you're going, you will get through there. And my last quote, for those of you who already feel like you've hit some great successes, you're already growing, and for those of you who can picture where you are going, never let success get to your head, and never let failure get to your heart. With this inspiration, with this framework, and this clear criteria and belief in each and every single one of you. So to conclude and wrap up, don't try and build millions of goals or things that are going to overwhelm you. Start with just a couple, using our life strips that we started with. Work as hard as you can on making them smarter goals, right? Share them with some of your friends, get some feedback if you feel capable of doing that. My name has been Mark. It's been a real pleasure sharing this with you today. I really hope that you can build some extraordinary goals, and a lot of that also comes with time. So be patient, be kind to yourselves, and go off and achieve incredible things.